What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. I got a relative. He's a very talented man, super smart. He's super ambitious. And it seems like almost everything the guy touches turns into gold. This is the true stuff, all right? But he's always in relationships that are typically bad relationships, okay? He's always in bad relationships, and he doesn't put any energy into himself. Like, he'll get divorced, and then within like 3 months, he's like remarried again, going through the same problems. He's never in any kind of position where he's taking any time out to worry about himself, to do things for himself. You never catch the guy doing it, and he always fails. All right? Everything is chasing a woman. You know, his personal projects are to the side. But he's so talented, if the man would just focus, he would have everything that he needs. And this is the story of many black men. I think a lot of guys understand this. And we've already seen so many black men now decide that they don't want to get married. But now a lot of black men are saying, listen, it's not even only that we don't want to get married. We don't even want to have sex. Some guys are going on to what you would consider abstinent runs. Okay, this is like very uncommon to see guys withholding from sex, but it does happen. You see women doing it or say they're doing it more often. But 50 Cent went viral last year. He talked about it. And then Redman just talked about it. And he has come out and said how being abstinent and giving up smoking weed has changed his life.
Instead of just saying, okay, I just quit. Because that word right there and quitting, your mind start fucking you. You might get around other people that's still doing what you're trying to quit from. So it's not just about quitting. It's about allowing yourself to get around from the distractions of what you're trying to quit from. Like if you're trying to quit from not fucking much, right? But your boys are constantly going to the club and going to the club, then you have to discipline yourself and say, okay, I can't hang around these guys no more. And if they're not willing to understand that I'm fasting from it and I want to stop it, then I can't be these guys' friends no more. My girl and I broke up maybe 3-4 years ago. I was going through such a shit divorce that lasted 7 years. That played a role in why it took so long to drop Muddy Waters as well. 7 to 8 years of straight court divorce. I had so much on my plate. And I actually fasted 2.5 years. No fuck, no smoking.
Wow.
Straight 2.5 years. And it was the best thing I could have ever done in my life. Celibacy, 2.5 years, no smoking, 2.5 years. And it was the best thing and believe me, I wanted to. I was fighting it. I was fighting. I was sweating. I was in my house going crazy because I lived alone. I live alone. So I was in my house going crazy. I was constantly talking to myself, me and God, and we just back and forth. You would think that it was people living in my house, how much I was talking to myself, but I made it. And it was the best thing I could have ever did in my life, Reggie and Jake. And it cleared out so much distractions. Now my reception is more clear now, and smoking to quit it is nothing for me now. Having no is nothing for me now because it was all feeding the flesh. And that's basically how the world is turning now. We're feeding the flesh. We're feeding what's good for us, which is not maybe good for the soul and spirit. So once I did that, long story short, I was able to control how I move, what I like, what is not good for me, my soul, my mind. So anyone that's trying to just cut out something indefinitely, try a fast first, and then maybe try it with some friends so you can support each other along that road.
Not only did he stop having sex, he separated himself from people that were chasing chicks, that were doing this and doing that, all right? And I kind of want to talk about this because when I was in medical school and, I was in Poland, you guys know I'm a pro-black, so there was times, man, where I was doing very well. I was making pretty good amount of money in medical school as a YouTuber. I was having it my way. And I remember the days where I was just focused on what I had to do. I wasn't worried about sex. I wasn't worried about clapping cheeks. And that was the best time of my life where I was probably, getting ready to get into really good shape. And, I was basically, I had all my energy focused on what I had to do for myself. And it's kind of how I got to where I am now. Just that built up in my life where I was just focused on work. I was focused on myself. I was focused on what I was trying to do. And once I was able to do that, everything got better for me. Now, I'm not trying to say that you need to be celibate. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to say that's a good idea for you. I don't know where you are in your life, but look at where these guys are. This is Redman we're talking about. Redman's never been a kind of flashy guy. He's always lived a modest lifestyle. But 50 Cent, these guys got access to women. They've always had access to women since they've been popping for a long time. And the reality is that when you are out here dealing with a lot of ladies, and it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of stress with that. Women typically are not the ones that are on the road with you when you're trying to be successful. When they want to come over, they want you to stop what you're doing. They want to take up your time. They want to take up your resources. They want, a lot of times, a lot of brothers feel like women are not understanding. So it's hard to really get to where you need to be with them because it's kind of really doesn't happen, right? So when you can't get nowhere with them and you're chasing them, you're spending your time with them, you're spending your money with them. And then a lot of guys feel like, well, like he did, hey, my wife left me and I had a divorce and I had my girl. It's like the juice is not really worth the squeeze. And then, once they leave and if you have built that bond, it's hard trying to get yourself back because a lot of things that men do for women is sacrificing. If it was just us that we had to worry about, and for some of you it is just you. If it's just for you worrying about, you got an apartment, you got a car, you have whatever you have, you don't need the highest level of cars. You might need not have the most expensive things. You would just be okay, probably with the damn minimum. But when you have a woman, a lot of things you're trying to see what she needs. You're dealing with her issues. She's dealing with your issues. You're not seeing eye to eye. And, and sometimes when they feel bad, obviously, a lot of times, not all the time, you feel bad. Like imagine the emotional roller coaster that somebody like Travis Hunter is on right now with his girl. That's crazy to have to go through that. And then they're always kind of focusing more or less on themselves. And you don't, you see? And it's a problem if men start to focus on themselves, like what Redman is talking about. A lot of women are gonna just be in trouble in the dating world today. It's gonna be in trouble because men are gonna really find out how free life really is. Of course, you're gonna have them urges, but listen, if you do that, you're gonna have a lot more money. If you do that, you're gonna have a lot more peace. And then here's something that's important. They're gonna always be there. My grandpa taught me that. He said, son, two things gonna always be there: the availability to date women and water. This ain't no fear of missing out thing. This ain't none of that. All right? This ain't none of that. They gonna be there. And I'm just so glad that you got to see a brother basically after all these years, focusing on himself. And you know what? He's gonna continue to do it because after you get so much, after you clap so many cheeks, the question is this: what are you gonna get from them? I mean, I really wanna know it. What are you gonna get from them? If you really wanna be honest, what are you gonna get? Can we tell the truth? A lot of guys don't get a lot from all that. I know people don't wanna talk about that. I know folks have a problem with that, but it's true. If you've clapped enough cheeks, you've dealt with enough ladies after so many years, you kind of see them coming before they come. Like, okay, I done dealt with you before. Once you see them, you like, oh yeah, I done dealt with her before. Yeah, this is normal. You know what I mean? Okay. So this is what we got. That's what we dealing with. All right, yeah. I've seen this coming 1,000 times. I'm good. And sometimes you want to be left by yourself. A lot of guys feel manipulated. For example, let me say I gave this girl some money, right? It's a true story. I was at an event one time dealing with this young lady, and she had some cheeks. I ain't gonna lie. some very, very nice cheeks. So we supposed to be spending some time together. The lady brings her sister. She happened to have like a very young sister. Like the parents is old, but they still like producing a lot of kids. So, you know, she's in her mid 20s, but the sister was like 6. She had another sister that was like 15. And we at this event or whatever, and I'm thinking that she coming. She bring the both of them. So I'm like, okay, like what are you doing? You know, so I ended up paying for the both of them. Then they needed to get to where they was going. It was crazy, right? I didn't spend a lot of money, which I was like, damn, this is crazy, but whatever. She then says, like a few days later, boo, you haven't been taking care of me. What? Brought your whole damn family out here to an event? I'll never forget that. Your whole family. Now you talking about ain't nobody taking care of you. Oh, but that was for me to see if you cared about me. Like, you know, like just silly stuff like that, man. Man get tired of that kind of shit. It's just like, man, you know what? Just keep them cheeks and go give them to somebody else. And most dudes who are in relationships with women like that, they be stressed out, man. If you really want to be honest, most guys are stressed out with women like that. A lot. Because even if to go back and forth and talk to her about, like, what are you talking about? You're not even making no sense. The fact that you have to continue to talk about that to her, it's insane. Like, what are you talking about? It's just so much easier to just be like, why don't you just leave? You know what? I'm going to just line myself up. I'm going to line myself up with Palmelina. Tired of your ass. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson. Back at it again. It's another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.